start with?
Well, let's start with Yaya.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we've had our, we're back.
Kind of. Tired today, yeah.
We've got a bit of a mess to wade through to get back here, too.
Right, so I spent the day at the hospital yesterday, because, yesterday morning, I'm on my way to a place that we are looking at to open a gym, one-on-one gym, like in Torrance. It won't be like an open gym. I'm telling you guys right now, it'll be like you can train when we train with us.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, there's kind of a you got to be an OG component there.
Yeah, because like we're not running a gym, so it'll be like a private gym in our office, but it's a big ass warehouse. It looks great. Anyway, so I'm there, right? And then as I leave, so I'm about 30 minutes away from here by bicycle. I get a phone call I get text from Yaya, and he starts with 1, 2, 3, and suddenly I get 12. And I'm like, And I open, he's like, I burned myself. And I was like, like she probably did some fucked up stuff with the pen and put her fingers.
Well, yeah, you start
and now she has blisters on her fingers.
You start thinking about it in your house. You're like, how burned can she really get?
Oh, she grabbed it and she has blisters on her hands. And I'm like, yeah. You know, it's Yaya. She's dramatic and everything she does. It turns out dramatic when it's the small stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of downplays the big stuff, it seems. So and she's like, I'm in so much pain. Please, can I call you? And then she starts to explain to me that there was oil that started burning, kind of exploded and splattered over her. I was like, what? So she calls me on FaceTime, crying obviously, and she shows me her foot. And from like below the toes up, all the skin has blistered and all it's falling off.
Well, and bubbles like the size of fucking grapes.
Yeah, all over her leg and everything. So the leg, thank God, is a first degree burn because there's no blister, but the foot got it, like really bad. There's blisters everywhere, skin is all really popping and everything. So I'm like, it's like what happened? So she was cooking, and this is what she tells me, but I can tell you exactly what happened.
I'm gonna guess there's gonna be some sort of thing that might be her fault that is getting glossed over.
So she's on YouTube. She's on YouTube, as usual, with the stuff and not paying attention. And she wants to make like those rice things she wants to make. And she used a small pan, put oil, and crank the fire. And then she takes it out, and I know she turns to YouTube and left the fire on. So at some point, the oil started boiling and it caught on fire. So now she has a huge flame coming out of the stuff. She panics, grabs the thing, and rushes outside. Oof. And as she rushes with it, the stuff catches on fire even more, and she goes like this. And so when it fell, it just splattered
fire.
Boiling oil on fire all over her.
Yeah.
And so she has spots everywhere on her legs, on her arms, fucked up my sweatshirt, my birthday sweatshirt from Richard, and he fell on her foot.
Yeah, like directly on.
And that one is gnarly.
Yeah, and the foot looks like, I mean, it doesn't even look like it got splashed with oil. It looks like it was dunked in oil.
Right,
like
right. And so I'm 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit. So Richard, I call, they rush in, they take her to the little clinic here where someone starts to give her painkillers, thank God. So here, by the way, you know what painkillers, no matter what you get, so even when you burn to like 3rd degree, you know what you get?
I know, because that's
paracetamol,
what they give.
Paracetamol and Aleve.
Yeah.
They don't give prescription drugs here.
My son had
painkillers.
We're talking like half his fucking, all the flesh off of his foot hanging off. And they gave him fucking paracetamol.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and Aleve, and if you're lucky, they get Aleve too, the two together, otherwise they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. All right then. They won't get, well, at least they won't get addicted to drugs, that's for sure.
I hurt my wrist and I'm like, I think whiskey is what we do here. I don't know. I was like, I'm not going to go to a doctor.
Ice just in the whiskey. And so, thank God they took her. But then the person at the emergency clinic was like, no, she needs to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So now I'm there. So she's crying in my arms. We get a taxi. Taxi says, sorry, only 2 people.
And did you fucking kick him out then and take his car?
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, exactly. And so there I go. So I go back on the bicycle to go to the hospital already going. Like, he didn't even let me sit in front. I was like, oh, what a fucking asshole. With a kid crying, with the stuff on her foot.
Right.
I'm like, you asshole. This is why Uber will always win.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of an asshole does that?
Well, but it's like, I'm sorry, but my rules, whatever rules.
What rules? I can sit in front any
other car.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I get to the hospital, and then they were super nice.
Yeah.
Actually, from the lady in, she's like, how is she and everything. We get in right away. The nurse gets exactly what happened, take her in the back, the doctor comes right away. The whole thing took over 5 hours.
Yeah.
But that being said, so there was a lot of waiting times. But that being said, they took really good care of us.
Yeah.
Like the whole socialized healthcare system, guess what? It works.
I learned it was really, 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 once we got, there's some structural problems, I think, in the system, like everything else.
It took forever.
But I mean, for me, like when I went in, I was so surprised at how well, not surprised as in like I expected it to suck because I thought the system here sucked.
Yeah, socialized medicine.
It's that every time we do anything involving a hospital, I expect to get fucking like extorted for money. Yeah. I expect to be abused, neglected.
No, that's the US only.
Exactly. Yeah. So, well, this is the truth. This is why I don't go to the hospital.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I went once.
I won't go
emergency
to the
room, and it was because Tatiana had hurt herself, $1,000, and treated like shit. And the guy comes 5 minutes and he leaves for the next one. Yeah. Like they took care of her.
This wrist, I mean, I don't think it's broken, but as of the way it looked, if you weren't a person, I've already. I've broken
this. It looks almost like the other one.
Almost. But I've already broken this wrist once or twice and sprained it a handful of times. So I just kind of know what's what and what it feels like. But I think the average person looking at that or knowing that would have definitely gone to the hospital the way I felt yesterday. And and in my head, I'm like, so all these people ask, will you go? Is he going to get x-rayed? Why don't you go get it x-rayed? I'm like, why don't you go get it x-rayed? Fuck you. Like, I'm not paying for this shit.
Right.
But then I realized here that it costs almost nothing and it's $100 a month for health insurance.
So I pay 150 for Yaya and me.
Yeah.
So I get there and they go like, give us our BSN, like our social security number or birth date. We'll look up the insurance stuff. It's like, no, I got a card. And it's like, oh, Pro-Life found it.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's it.
No one asked me about money, about anything after that.
Yeah.
They just done. I was like, okay. And so they took really good care of her. And so
they start like, what did they? So when they get there, what's their thing?
So first,
why did you have to go there?
Well, because they actually know how to treat burns, which the other lady didn't. So what she did is she started to put cream on and wrapping the stuff.
At the first place.
Right. But you can't do that with that skin on. Because otherwise it gets infected.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't there because I was on my way there, right? And the second lady goes there, she goes, no. She needs to go to the hospital. So we get to the hospital and then the nurse takes out. So first they make her shower and then that takes forever. Then the doctor comes. And so she popped the blister and started removing all the dead skin all around the foot. Yeah. So that she took all the dead skin out. I have the picture of her foot. It's
before
weird.
And after, it's super weird.
It's super weird because she has fairly dark skin, and then it's like that pinkish stuff, and it's
like a albino birthmark.
Almost like when you get like gloved, or that's not to the bone, but like to the flesh. That's kind of what it looks like. And then they start testing and everything, and she has sensitivity everywhere except from a patch of skin that looks great. So now she has. Second degree, first degree on her legs, second degree on the foot, and maybe third degree at the patch. If that patch is bad, so on Tuesday we're going to a hospital that specializes in burn victims, an hour from Amsterdam. If that patch is bad, then she might have surgery and cut the skin out because then it's dead and has to be removed. Hopefully it doesn't get there. So she's going back today to check. And they'll know because when you go like this, it comes back red.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there's going to be some sensitivity or stuff. Otherwise, she might have cooked the skin, flesh. So it was gnarly.
Yeah, that's.
She's in very good spirits, though.
Yeah, I was actually
just paracetamol.
She's able to get around a little bit, which is
But she's in good spirits.
It could have been a lot worse.
Well, yeah.
The fucking house could have burned down.
She would have killed the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cat could have caught on fire, and then like it's
Yeah, I mean, flaming oil.
Yeah, like this stain.
I'm gonna give you guys all a little tip. If you're ever in that situation, don't do any of the things that she did, though.
Don't put water.
Cover it. Cover it with the lid.
Take the clothes you have on.
Yeah.
Shove it in the pan.
Yeah. That's it.
Right. You suffocate the fire. You don't put water. You don't rush outside with it. Take the clothes you have on. Shove it in the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You won't. I mean.
Anyways, if you're cooking in the nude, I recommend that you not do that when you're cooking oil anyway. So always cook oil with
Don't
some
cook
sort of
oil
clothes on, at least for that reason alone, for
and
safety.
And when you're done cooking, turn the fire off. I mean, yeah. So anyway, cooking oil can be dangerous. Turns out.
Man, well, that's a type of excitement. Unfortunately, I've had this quarter as well. So
Yeah.
it's been
It's gnarly.
we're all bound to get wrecked up at some point, I think.
Yeah, I was expecting a broken bone, not that one.
Yeah.
But
something
like-
from hockey, like
Yeah, exactly. Like
Teeth-
paf, and then
teeth
here goes the leg. I mean, like broken leg or some shit.
Yeah.
This one, outside of the foot, it won't leave marks.
Yeah.
She'll have some discoloration.
Yeah.
For a while, but she'll get out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, especially even if she has discoloration marks on that, tattoos will do the job.
Yeah.
Like 2.5 years till she can get a tattoo. That's easy.
Yeah.
But so I think it'll be fine. But the foot.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so that was yesterday. So I ate at 7 in the morning. Like did my studying, and then I go see the place. And I spent by 6 o'clock at the hospital. I'm like
fast.
I'm like this. Like I'm falling asleep. I'm like, man, I'm tired.
Yuck.
Yeah. And then we come back, and then I was like, I'm not taking a taxi, so we took the bus. But, yeah.
By the way,
Anyway,
did you have to have masks on the bus here now? Did they change that?
No, they say June 1st is the
Okay.
train. I don't know about the bus, but it's all June 1st.
Okay.
Because they're reopening stuff.
Yeah.
So my guess,
so it's because there's going to be more people on. Are they having to get rid of the space?
my guess is it's tourist again.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I think it's a tourist thing because the way that I've looked at how they've been doing things, it's really to limit the amount of people from outside coming in.
Is the so when they
And
go
it is
when they
Amsterdam,
go
but-
masks on the train, are they going to get rid of the 1.5 meters thing then? Because I wonder if things open back up, like there's going to be some limitations to that.
There's still going to be 1.5, I'm guessing.
Yeah, because I've been in a lot of stores where they just have kind of given up on that.
Yeah, but they're not supposed to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like at the... By the way, the hospital, there was no 1.5 and no one wore masks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that busy.
It was not busy.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying anything. Just they were super nice and everything. All I'm saying is most of the beds were empty and the people there obviously were not stressed out. Or they were taking their time, but they were not busy. They were not running everywhere. Like you could tell. You can tell.
Yeah, and I was in weekly in Utrecht for 6 weeks during it, and it was
Normal. No, yeah, it's normal emergency room. The lady next to me like fell through a glass and cut her leg. I mean, the typical stuff.
yeah.
Typical emergency room. Whoops.
The good so there's always like I think there's always just some old lady screaming and cussing at somebody in the corner.
No, there was a dude who did it was the day of stupid shit, not to do at home. That's what the people there were for. I was like, yeah, us too.
Yeah, we've been locked up too much. Now we're getting hurt in our houses.
Yeah, exactly.
So this week we want to build on
on last
when we
week.
get into this from last week.
In order to get to that, I want to talk about something. So I think I want to affirm a principle
Okay.
that.
Just bear
Let's
with
make
me.
sure it's on. Yeah.
I knew it was.
Yeah. I want to affirm a principle that I think we do not see as such. So, but that is actually very important. We talked about that the brain does not process individual stimuli, process events.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is a principle that there is a true principle at work there. What do I mean by that? In philosophy, we say there is no truth without context.
Okay.
Right. We talked about that. Then there is no emotion without events. So the brain does not process stimulus; it processes events.
Yeah.
An emotion is not an emotion; it's an emotion as long as there is an event.
As a part of an
Yeah.
event.
There is no truth without context. You never cross the same river twice. Because it's not the same river, you're not the same. So I believe there is a principle at play there. So, and you know what the principle would be? Then it would be functional integration versus functional segregation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. But if there's and I believe it's a fundamental principle that life does not work in small parts added.
As the sum of all of the little parts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like so that's why we say the total is more than the sum of all parts. I believe that is a fundamental principle. That my guess is goes toward physics, because that's kind of what quantum mechanics is saying, with superposition and all the stuff. Like I believe there is a deep fundamental principle of life in there, because it seems that even the brain works like that. So it works in physics, He works in mathematics, the Gödel theorem. You cannot be complete and coherent at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? The brain only processes events. Emotions are events related.
Now this sounds like, if you will, binary talk: on, off, left, right, good, bad. Is that
no? Because
different?
it goes much further than that. Because, for example, what that would mean for muscles, it means that you cannot study muscles without movement.
That would make sense.
Right. Okay, that would make sense. What is the first thing you learn in anatomy? You study movement on a cadaver.
Yeah.
Right. So, like the PEC is the internal rotator of the humerus. That's the problem. Yeah, but you see what the problem is.
So,
because it's not. So then, what is the job of the PEC? Then you cannot separate the PEC from.
At least not when you've removed like the moving human context.
But then, what is the point?
Yeah.
Since the point is movement.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot study the PEC by itself. So, what you can study is internal torque.
Yeah.
What is the point of the PEC? What is the point of the PEC? Is to bring things toward the center.
Yeah.
Either this way.
Yeah.
Right. So even if you are here and you push, you're pushing toward a center line.
Yeah.
Right. So that means that fundamentally we learn incorrectly.
What do you mean fundamentally we learn incorrectly?
Right.
Rephrase that for me.
Okay. World War II. I refer that a lot. You learn when World War II started and when it finished.
Yeah. By looking at just this single thing.
That day, the war started.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? That's when the war started, is that day, and that's when it finished, really. So that means that when the war was finished, everything's cool, the war is done.
Cool. Yeah.
Right. So, but if you had lived through that era, you would go like, no, the world didn't, because
there was a long time where it kind of was and kind of wasn't.
And you know, like the Germans were receding anyway, then the Americans come, and the Americans ended up raping a lot of women too. And so, like,
we get all the credit. We get credit.
Credit. Yeah, right, sorry, my bad. You know, like 90% of the destruction in France was done by the American bombs. Mm-hmm. When did the war stop exactly? No, but okay, imagine if you had lived then.
Yeah.
Right. That would not be your definition of when it started and finished and everything, right? So what we do in order to study is we take the total and we split it into little parts.
Yeah.
But if the total is more than the sum of all parts,
then you're missing.
Then you will always miss stuff. So what you end up with the PEC is a rotator, internal rotator of the humerus.
Now that doesn't point to like total inaccuracy from anything that's learned in that method, but incomplete. Right? I mean...
Yeah, but, okay, so if you say but then, all right, if I have a computer, it's all built perfectly.
Yeah.
But I start by saying 2 + 2 = 5. That means any calculation from there is going to lead me astray.
Yeah.
So you could start with, yes, indeed, the PEC is an internal rotator of the humerus. But then any calculation you make after that is a system, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you start a system a certain way, it will always lead to where systems lead.
Yeah, and it'll spin out of balance. Now to zoom back then with the motion though, right? So you said emotion is only there in the context of the whole event. You think general...
Right. So, but there's a problem. People tell you can't measure happiness. But that's true because there is no happiness. There's only happiness at work, happiness when you train. Yeah. Whatever it is whatever event that makes you happy.
Yeah.
So there is no such thing as happiness. So we are trying to create a notion of happiness that does not exist. The only thing that exists is working out makes you happy.
Yeah.
It's the other way. So then our way of learning takes everything backwards.
Okay.
Like the PEC is an internal rotator of the humerus. No, there is no such thing as the PEC. The PEC can only work. So the PEC can only work. What function of the PEC does not, where you actually use your PECs, does not include the arms. The PEC dance.
That's it.
That's it, right? Which is good for mating, obviously.
But for posture.
Right. Also trapeze doing this. Right.
Yeah.
Short of that, there is no, you cannot use the PECs without the arms.
Without anything else, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So why are we studying the PECs without the action of the arms? So that means that you cannot do functional segregation, take the pecs and go, that's what pecs do. No, you will only understand what pecs do as long as you add the biceps, the shoulder and everything, because then you see what movement they create. But you cannot separate it into pieces. Otherwise, you end up with the pec is an internal rotator of the humerus, which is true, except it's not.
Yeah.
But it's not true, because that's not what the pec does, because the pec never acts alone. Right, so imagine if you have a group of whatever, brain, heart, and enteric system.
Yeah.
They do not act on their own.
Yeah.
Right, so you can't separate one from the other, otherwise the whole system does not work fully. Right, so you can study one, but you can never study one without the interaction of the other two.
Well, and there's an interesting thing. I was even reading this morning about. This is in like industry stuff. There's a thing that basically has to be factored in once things get above a certain scale.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the decision of one thing. Like say GE can't make a decision in a space that they share with, say, General Motors. Because they know for sure, let's just talk about something simple, single product, they just choose to raise their prices. Well, they're going to be pretty able to predict how General Motors is going to react. So that just the sheer threat of that, so those things no longer exist on their own.
Right.
Because the actions taken by, say, GE in this marketplace will force actions taken this. So those systems, they no longer can operate separately. It will never happen separately. Exactly. Everything that you do, you now have to know. So you end up having to play the whole system and the whole parts. And that's the only way that it works.
Right. And imagine that system, if I go to GE and say, what do you think? You go, well, it doesn't matter. What do I think?
Yeah.
Because it's all of us in the pool.
Yeah.
What I think doesn't matter. Like, this is what will happen once this decision is made.
Yeah.
But I want to know what you think.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, so this is what the guy would be like, it doesn't matter, but okay, this is what I think. And now you take the whole pool and you go and you bet all your money on what the dude said his opinion was.
Yeah.
But you're always going to lose because it doesn't matter what he thinks. What matters is what the collective will do.
Yeah. Yeah. And the collective okay. Well, that's a really interesting concept because there's a generality and there's specificity in a lot of things, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just curious, though, is like, this is coming in the context of emotion, but the immune system.
Right. So
I mean, but what I'm wondering is break down somehow this like generality or the context for emotion.
Right.
You know?
So in that case, like this is a paper that was given to us on the StrongFit community, which I thought was very interesting, where the guy was linking emotion and the immune system, saying that they are actually we know they are related, but they actually might be a different facet of the same thing.
Okay.
So he was not saying they're the same thing, but they actually might be linked far deeper than we understand.
What I had kind of looked at was like the immune system is, to use some terms you might have said, the immune system is more of a component of an overall well-being system, right? I mean that,
of course,
and
that's
that's
so
kind of
that's
the root
to
we're
follow
trying
what
to
we
get
said
at.
on the last podcast, exactly.
Yeah.
So, by the way, talking about what we talked about it in the last podcast. We know what the markers of a bad immune system is. What are the markers of a great immune system?
Yeah.
I don't think we have any. So it's starting to, but it matters because if immune system and emotions are related, there's two sides of emotion. There's the I feel really bad and then there's I feel really good. There's markers for that. So that means that they would have markers for a great immune system. And if they're related, that means really bad emotions and really bad immune system will be connected. But that also means then that really good emotions and really good immune system could be related.
Yeah.
So that means that you could start to see like those two extremes would be necessary.
Yeah.
So that means that maybe the purpose of feeling awesome has actually a physiological reality to it. So that's what the paper I thought was very interesting. But so what would be what does it matter, like that whole generality versus specificity? Emotions and immune system. So what is the immune system? So we talked about that in the last podcast when we talked about allostasis. All right, so 3 ways to fix a somatic error. First one is change the prediction. Second one is change how you feel. Third one is change the world. Right, so let's talk about the number 2, right? Okay. Changing how you feel. That's a process of allostasis. The immune response is definitely an allostatic response. right? It's like something comes in, the body raises the defense system, raises all the energy being spent on oneself into fighting whatever is happening.
And that's when everything will change from heart rate to
temperature,
to water
to
retention,
water to the whole thing.
Appetite,
right.
Everything.
Sluggishness.
Shed nutrients.
And everything. And you'll notice, like, as the sicker you get, the worse you feel, the less you act.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So there's a direct relationship between how sick you are and how shitty you feel. Mm-hmm. That's interesting, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's actually funny because you could just say that out loud and everyone said, well, duh.
Yeah. Yeah, like, exactly. Duh.
Well, wait. Yeah.
Right. But so, do you notice also the sicker you are, the shittier you feel, the less you want to move? Mm-hmm. Right. So are those things related then? You would go like, obviously, I don't want to move because I want to keep my energy to fight the stuff. All right. So what do you need the emotions for? Because emotions are a learning rate. Stuff is like, so emotions have two purposes. And the first purpose would be to learn, which means I feel like shit. Next time, don't get sick.
Yeah.
Fuck, what do I need to do next? What did I do?
Yeah.
So that's why.
I remember that week I spent miserable laying on the fucking couch. I'll be goddamned if I'm eating some raw chicken that I've got at a gas station.
Right. Like, and the whole time you're sick, you're thinking, what did I do? Oh, that fucking raw chicken. Yeah. And then you start hating the guy. So what you're doing is but what you're really building is a mechanism not to go back to that place.
Yeah.
And if the sicker you are, the more certain you are, you'll never go back.
Yeah.
We all been there going like, you're on the toilet for like 12 hours straight and you go like, I'm going to go back there just to kill the guy.
Yeah, it's Taco Bell.
Exactly, right. Like, which one is that bad? Is Taco Bell the worst in the US, right? The one I thought by now would have killed 2 million people.
I think so, yeah.
I think that's probably the worst. Yeah. Right, so what you're building is a system to not go back. Saying like, I don't care how much you liked it, do not ever go back there.
That is the lesson to be learned. I want to take this one step further we haven't talked about, but it's really interesting to think about why then one of the things people who go from being like kind of overweight, unhealthy, eating really unhealthy food to being healthy and really, really eating good, clean food. Yeah. One of the things they always comment on is their emotional state before and after. Yeah. Now, of course, fixing your emotions, like there's a connection to all of it. Causation, I don't really care, but it is really
interesting
interesting
is an event.
That when people are eating processed foods, poor quality food, low quality food, that they always say that I just felt bad then. I was like kind of miserable. I didn't feel good. I felt not even sick, but like their emotion would be considered like on a day-to-day basis would be ranking significantly lower than it is when they are kind of healthy and thriving now. And that's really interesting, walking around kind of just constantly with that pull of being a little bit poisoned, you know what I mean, from an immune system standpoint.
Probably more than a little bit.
Then you have a population of people with compromised foods that's constantly bad emotion. And that connection, I think, is significant.
Right, so exactly. So purpose of emotion first would be a learning mechanism. But what if there's a second role for emotion? So in that case, we go back to second way of changing somatic error, changing how you feel. Yeah. Sounds like emotion to me.
Yeah.
Right. So what if emotion has a second role, and it's basically the extremes, just like a immune system. So we're going to use the immune system as a comparison. You get sick, so immune system is getting hammered, right? You start to feel really, really bad. First reason is to teach you to not do that shit, whatever you did again, or at least figure it out. Second would be to take away your energy, take away the energy that you would be do to change the world or change the prediction and put it toward changing how you feel. Yeah. In that case, the allostasis response. Yeah. So the emotions, the negative emotion, like you feel like shit, would be don't change the world, change inside. So the guy was making a very interesting, because that he talked my language in that paper, so I liked it right away. He was making a parallel between that and Freud and Jung and all those people with, like the id versus the superego. Yeah. Superego is society's view expectations of you. Yeah. And id is what you truly want. Yeah. Need. Yeah. Both. Truly want and need inside, right? So the id versus the superego. So the change the world part of somatic error would be through the superego. So, the societies, so the external force, right? Whereas the internal force would be the id, would be an allostatic response, would be the second way of changing the prediction error would be, so in that case, also emotions.
So that method of changing the prediction error, though, you talked about where you're changing the way you feel about it.
Yep.
There's, in any number of predictions, there's any number of, we'll call it allostasis responses that are going to happen there, right? So it could be anything, any indicator. You get a flu.
It's a percentage.
Right?
Yeah.
But the question I would ask then is the emotion like our indicator that's kind of the method that is being used or needs to be used to change that prediction, right? Is that emotion your...
No, maybe the goal of the emotion, so you feel like shit, right? Your immune system goes down, your emotions are very... The worse, the more you're sick...
Or does it still just boil down to learning still?
No, it's past learning, I think. Okay. I think he has another reason. It's actually a second one. So the worst... So, but again, it's not just emotional immune system. It goes way more, but I'm just going to use that for the podcast to explain what I mean. But you have to understand it goes way past immune system. Yeah. That's just one link.
They come together there and we thought it was not.
But you have to understand nowadays, emotions goes with everything. Yeah. Learning behavior goes with everything. But this is one link I want to explore to explain the concept.
Okay.
But again, that is not the only link. It's just one I will use on this podcast. The worse you go, sickness-wise, right? The worse you feel. So literally, more sick, more negative emotion, right? Less movement. Yeah. Right. More you're taking all your energy toward internal change versus external change. So in that case, the negative emotion would be in order to take all the energy to put it inside instead of outside. So toward the head instead of toward the superego.
Yeah, and so that's why when I had asked you earlier, I said, well, negative emotions seem very energy intensive, like they're using a lot of energy.
It is.
And the point you had made was, go ahead, that's about the energy you spend with the outside world. You may spend the same amount of energy, but you're doing it in here because this is where it's needed to get you better from an immune or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And so it really is about, it's not about energy conservation. It's about where
you put the energy. Yeah. But so the point of negative emotion would be for you to spend less energy on the world.
Yeah.
Right. So what if in that link, imagine, because everything is an event, there is no individual stuff. So then that means if everything is an event, that means in that link, emotions and the immune system are the same thing.
What makes it same
they
system?
Exist on the same system.
Yeah.
Same system.
Yeah, not separate, not two separate things. Yeah.
No. Everything is
as
an
though
event.
they could be. Yeah.
So what if there is no separate things? So that's the point I'm trying to make with the principle.
I think that's the thing that we get to with everything now we're doing.
Exactly.
There is no
you can never cross the river twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so everything is always an event. So that means that whenever an event is, then everything comes together. There is no parts. There are only, like they talk about the multiverse. Yeah. Like there's different universes and everything, but that universe is a whole.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's stuff. So when things come together, they're not pieces of Lego anymore. They form a new universe.
Yeah.
And so life is a pocket of universes. An event is its own universe where everything works together. It's not pieces like we think. It's anytime there's an event, it becomes its own universe.
Yeah, its own thing.
Its own thing. Yeah. That's why you can never cross the same river twice.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same river. So it's anytime there's a different event, it's not the same universe anymore. So in that case, you're very sick, the immune system and the emotion being part of the same universe, they're the same thing, they're the same system now. Yeah. They're linked. Right. And so you feel really bad in your immune system and stuff like that. So then we know what the markers are. We know what happens. So then that explains why you feel like shit. That explains why you're connected so much emotionally to food. Because food is a way to change how you feel.
Yeah.
Once it's a fix, not in itself, but when the food is a fix, you're using it to change how you feel. So now they become part of that universe. So now food, emotions, and immune system,
now they
it's
live
all
in
the same.
Same space. Yeah.
It's all the same.
And that's why I've always found that when people are able to, not via any of this stuff, generally, if people are able to separate food from their emotions, especially in using it as a tool at all, that you're right, that no longer becomes a part of their...
It's another event
of the thing now. So that's very cool.
Right. And so, but now we're running into an issue that we talked about in the last podcast. What are the markers for a great immune system?
I'm thinking out loud. I would say, would it be positive emotion? Is that a thing?
But then that would be.
What would we peg markers of that would be?
Right. So that's a problem. It's first of all, like from a pure medical perspective.
Subjective.
Exactly. Yeah. We have all the markers for the negative stuff. So that was what I was referring to in the last podcast about the medical world being extremely biased towards something. They are biased toward negativity.
Yeah.
Their job is to get you from negative to nothing.
Yeah.
Right. But imagine if you run a life that is emotions are either negative or you have none. Do you want that life?
No. Yeah.
Right? Right.
Yeah.
So you see the bias. Mm-hmm. So the only way we have to deal with the immune system with the system is through the medical world that only is interested in the negative aspect of it.
Yeah, only an error correction.
Right.
Kind of, yeah.
Exactly. But to get you to zero.
Baseline.
Right. So that's no life. That's a life of depression, by the way. Yeah. And speaking of that, like we've seen many correlation between inflammation and depression, between, like ALS and the gut flora. Yeah. Like there's so many connection we're starting to understand there. So you could see that, but so let's say life is an arch. Because we go back to the old school StrongFit principles. Life is an arch. That means that if I have the very bad, which is necessary, so those very bad emotions might be necessary because your immune system is under attack.
Yeah.
So therefore, the emotions would be, again, not separate, but as a whole, just a marker of how bad your immune system is going in that link. Remember, not overall, in that link.
Yeah. Much like just saying, if your heart rate, if your blood pressure is super high, it might be an indicator of this and this and this. Like,
right, exactly.
It's just an indicator, but there's a relationship there.
So that also means that your emotions are very bad, you're depressed, your immune system goes down. Mm-hmm. We've seen that.
Yeah,
we know.
For sure.
Depressed people. So emotions and immune system are the same thing in that system. Once they're linked, they become part of the same universe.
How does one separate them?
You don't.
You don't.
That's the point. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. You don't.
But you can't just wallow it. I mean, how does one figure out the...
Yeah. Exactly, but that's the problem, is we all think because they're separate and everything, but even if they're the same, we don't consider what this means. It means that there's exactly the same thing as that on the other side.
I see. So just like my last question was, well, how do we just detach that and get back to square?
Right.
So let's look at the other side of that.
So that means that it's not bad and zero. That means that there is the exact same system as two extremes, always. So the very bad and everything has its own function, but that means there's the exact same function on the other side, which is very positive, great emotions and great immune system where the system works better. Yeah. So that would mean...
It's effective, it's versatile, quick responding.
So that would mean the same thing as this side. That means that depression causes immune system down immune system causes depression because they're the same. So that would mean that the opposite, which means feeling great, whatever you want to call it, well-being, but great well-being and great immune system and great functioning of the system are the same thing. So that would mean that getting to the great emotions could fix immune system issues and stuff like that. And what the guy was pointing out is that they were looking at personality trait and they saw that certain personality traits had less inflammation than others. So he was trying to link the fundamental emotion to the immune system.
Okay.
But no one has markers for the good stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you look, like everybody thinks the stuff they give you is always homeostasis.
Yeah.
Go back to homeostasis. So, and this is where the bias comes from. Homeostasis is a center. So you go to a hospital always because you're bad, you're injured, you're hurt. So their job is to get you back to the center. So everybody thinks the center is where we live. But what if we're wrong? And that's what predictive coding would tell you. What if there is no center? What if basically the point is you don't fight bad to center, you fight bad by the very good.
Yeah. That would make a lot of sense.
Remember that movie with that great actor, about the doctor that would make people laugh.
That was with Patch Adams.
Patch Adams.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Power of Laughter.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome movie, by the way.
Yeah. Robin Williams.
Just the bit wasn't that the bit where he had the giant inflatable legs for the gyno convention?
For the gyno convention. That shit was funny. Right.
Yeah.
But that's that then. Then that means that emotion and immune system in that system are the same. So that means that creating great emotions is getting a strong immune system. Getting a strong immune system is creating great emotions.
Yeah. And so do you think even trying to get at any sort of causation is pointless in this, right? That you know what I mean? Like, one will lead the other will lead the other. Well, there's probably 10 other things within that event anyway.
And I think that's fundamentally the problem.
Yeah.
Is we want to establish causation, but you can't because they're the same
Because
thing.
what I want to come in and I want to say, well, if my concern is that I just want to have better emotions, well, what do I need to do to get my immune system better so I can feel better about my day?
Exactly.
Right? That's the question. That's where I just go to.
Right. But that's
or
we're
if I'm sick,
yeah.
I want to say, well, how do I just make sure I get some fucking good emotions so that
I'm not sick anymore? Right. So we're going back to asking GE what he thinks.
Yeah, yeah.
But GE cannot. You can't ask GE what he thinks to understand how the thing is going to work.
It's like there's another thought experiment in that regard where if you look at, this is a true thing. McDonald's tried to do this to make chicken wings, right? They were going to make like fried chicken wings.
Yeah.
Didn't go very well, but there was a real problem at the root of it was that McDonald's can look at the market price of chicken.
Yeah.
And they can say, all right, let's get in the chicken business, right? We're going to buy up this type of chicken.
Right.
So what happens is McDonald's looked at the price of chicken. They can't just take that price of chicken and say, this is what we're going to buy 10 bazillion kilos of chicken every week at. Because once you do that, you've removed half of the chicken from the current supply and starved everything out. So McDonald's gets in the chicken business, all of a sudden chicken doubles in price. So McDonald's now can't afford to get in the chicken business because of the impact they have on the chicken business.
Right.
So McDonald's can't look at the chicken business because of the chicken business. They have to look at their interaction with the whole thing.
That's the double slit experiment.
Basically.
Where you cannot look at the electron.
Yep.
Because then it goes from a wave to a particle.
Exactly.
Right.
Once McDonald's enters their hand into a market, the magnitude of that thing changes its presence. So that's why we can't go at this with just emotion.
Right. So that's remember with the Autobots when in the comic, and then they get into that massive one or whatever it was. Right. So once they go into all together, right. It becomes a single entity. Then it's not the right arm doing what he wants and the left leg, and then it becomes one entity.
Motherfucking Voltron.
Right. Yeah. So what if everything is really, we should call it the Voltron Effect.
I like it.
Come on, the Voltron
Effect.
There's a shirt. That's a fucking
the
shirt.
The Voltron Effect is the perfect, it's the perfect breakdown of our,
I love it.
What's the term? The specialization, fragmentation, the functional integration.
The Voltron Effect.
And it sounds way better.
It sounds so good.
I've been catching these now, going back, and I got a list.
You gotta put this on Instagram. Where are we exactly? Yeah.
Remind me. All right, we'll save it. I got it.
Oh yeah, the Voltron Effect. Oh, that is so good. The Voltron template. The Voltron Effect, that's so good. Okay, so that explains perfectly what I want to say. The Voltron, we're going to call that the Voltron Effect. Yeah. That's safe. That's a StrongFit thing now. Nobody has a right to use it.
Yeah.
Right, so the Voltron Effect, exactly.
It's greater than the sum of all of its parts as well. It's not just the same. Yeah.
So the river, again, going back, is Voltrons after Voltron.
That's Voltron. And the reason all the little machines came in to make Voltron is because they couldn't fight off the big bad on their own individually.
Exactly, right.
They had to be fucking Voltron.
Exactly.
God damn it, those guys were onto something. Man. Julien did all this research, and it's like, you Voltron, guys, you get it? And they're like,
Voltron Effect. Yeah! Right. So what if everything is a Voltron Effect? Right. Yeah. So that means that, but then we go back to the last podcast where we were explaining that extremes, for example, extremes when it comes to fuel is lactate. Yeah. Producing versus using. And how do I produce more on that extreme? How do I use it better on that extreme?
Yeah.
Right. So that means that going back to emotion, immune system, that means there is the other side of bad, which is great emotion equal great immune system equal great emotion. Like where the Voltron Effect affects on the other side, which no one is looking at, studying, or doing anything with.
Yeah.
So I thought that was, but even when you train, look at, especially with CrossFitters, let's be honest, when they train, what do they look at? How bad can I make myself feel? We talked about that with cardio. Like no one builds cardio, everybody tests cardio.
Yeah.
And the test is how hard can I push?
Fucking just go drown with fitness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just go kill yourself. Right.
Yeah.
What about then feeling awesome? Because then to extreme, we need both extremes.
Yeah.
Right. So that got me thinking when I thought about all this. I take emotions, immune system as as a link, right? But I'm going to take the same system, but just with different links. But same idea, still the Voltron effect. I'm going to take lactate, both extremes.
Yeah.
I take lactate, production of lactate, right? Is one extreme, and that's when you VLA max, that's when you feel the worst. Right. What would be the opposite of that? Is how to use lactate properly, right? And then if this is the worst I feel, this is the best I feel. What did we create that allows you to feel really good while you learn to use lactate properly?
Which would be Disney December.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe that's why it works.
Yeah.
Because they all say like if you do VO2 max trainings to
people come in. That's one thing they always say too is they'll come in and say, well, you can just do anything to build your VO2 max, probably more effective than just kind of chilling.
Right, exactly. And yet, Disney December works better.
Yeah, for overall well-being, for sure.
Right.
Which is the point.
But remember, the point of Disney December. Remember the songs. Is to get you that well-being, that promotion, that promoting safety, the vagus nerve,
and so
everything.
Attaching emotion somewhere positive or negative to the lactate stuff makes it all of a sudden now you know that you cannot just go in and fucking have a shit day and just kind of skid through some cardio either because it's not going to do you any fucking good.
And so we know that VO2 max eventually, like that, the interval training lowers VLA max. You know why? Because you're learning to feel bad, but not nearly as bad as pure VLA max. So that's why as a VLA max, it lowers your VLA max because you're not feeling that bad. So what if then the system is made of extremes? You're supposed to feel absolutely awful, burn the questions, but you're supposed to feel also really cool when you do it. Disney December. And that's why it works. That's a Voltron effect.
You win, man. Fuck.
You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking about. So bodybuilders and the pump. Schwarzenegger, it feels like coming and everything. Yeah. So maybe we need that too. That's why assistance work done correctly works. It's not, so as a Voltron effect, it's not just the pump. You get a pump, but that's because it feels good. So to get a pump, the movement has to feel good. Yeah. So maybe when you were saying it feels so good, it's not because you have a pump. You have a pump because it feels so good. So that means that when you do assistance work, you have to do the technique in a way that it feels good. Yeah. That also means we need that work where you make yourself feel good.
Yeah. And you do need work in which you make yourself not
feel good. Well, yeah.
I mean, like
that's the strongman. That's the StrongFit stuff.
And that's what, and we talk about that. That is less about training for quote wellness, and that is about wholeness, right? I mean, you're gonna have to go in and you're gonna have to fucking.
So you train for the Voltron.
You still gotta crush your shit in order to adapt.
And so that means you need extremes.
Yeah.
You need some cardio even for strongman. You need some strength even for endurance people. So everything is a game of extremes. Yeah. And you need to feel really bad when you train, and you need to feel really good when you train. But what do people do? They go in the middle.
Always.
They don't feel really bad. They don't feel really good.
I had such a interesting, when I was going through writing some programming, I was like, I realized then and there, I was like, for this thing, it is only extremes. It is, we are only doing this thing, the muscle, the pump, the whole thing, and then we go straight to the cardio. And it was so funny in like a lifting a heavy, a strong program and having to explain to people cardio. Like, it is, and but in doing so, basically, it's like there's no middle of the road training. There's time and place for it, but that's not what this thing is. And that's what it is in here too. Is if you're a CrossFitter, there is going to be times when you're going to have to do that middle of the road because that's a part of the road.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's a part of the road. Of course you're going to do it.
But there's also sides.
But stay the fuck out of the middle of the road all goddamn day.
Exactly. Yeah. But it also means he's going to have to feel, again, feeling bad, that's easy. If you look, what do they love burn the questions or stuff like that? Because he feels so bad. So that's usually, I mean, some people can't go there. That's true. But
some people, I think there's inverse. I think there's many types, but I think there's some that will go there willingly, often, and can do it and can't do the other thing. This guy. Then there's others who can never get there.
Right. So what are the two options that we see? Middle of the road or bad?
Yeah.
Back to the medical world.
Yeah. That's true.
The only people that feel good are bodybuilders, and they take steroids to increase the pump. People don't understand. Most people don't take steroids to get bigger. They do, but what they really are addicted to steroids, even though it's not addictive, it's because of the pump.
Yeah. Well,
because they feel so good when they train. Yeah. The sensation they get.
Generally, every time you go to the gym, if it feels good, and you leave and it feels good, and you respond fast, everything feels good.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a marker for you.
You recover faster, you feel good. You wake up feeling like your shit got
train more.
crushed by a truck because
You
you're not
train more.
recovering.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you're going to feel very different. So that's another interesting marker.
You hold water,
Yeah,
which is an immune system response.
yeah,
Like it's a sympathetic response.
interesting. Well, there's
But
a lot
if you have the
here.
right,
I mean,
if you have the right mindset, I just want to take one more thing: the NK cells, because that's very
well,
interesting.
that's what I'm saying. I wonder what
Yeah.
what we want to go into.
Yeah, I just want to explain the NK cell because then it's the end of it, but it's very interesting. But because there's something it talks about in that paper which is fascinating. So lymphocytes and all that stuff. So when you get sick, right, the body releases first what is called the NK cell. NK is for natural killer. Those are cells that will kill anything that is marked for killing.
Yeah.
Right, but it's indiscriminatory. It's a containment system.
Okay.
Body is in trouble, releases a lot of NK cells. I'll kill everything.
Yeah.
Right. So that can be a problem too,
Yeah.
obviously. Like you can see, for example, leukemia, where it's not NK cells necessarily, but when things get out of control, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you first get sick. You release NK cells.
A general solution.
Right.
Right.
So
Like-
yes, a containment system,
Yeah.
a general solution. That is what happens when you feel really, really bad. Right. And after that, the body starts, once he has time to contain the stuff, he releases the T cells, which is very specific to hitting exactly that virus.
Engineered for what's there.
For that, the antibodies for that particular stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So the NK cells are released when you feel really, really, really bad. What's very interesting is that the accuracy of the killing, like the killing rate of those cells, increase when you feel really, really good.
Interesting.
Is that not strange? So that means that you have production versus using it correctly
And negative.
on both sides. And
versus
positive.
Positive.
Exactly like lactate.
Yeah.
It follows the same way of you produce lactate in a very, very bad, in an acute stress
Yeah.
moment, and you learn to use lactate at the best when everything is rosy and peachy and everything. That's the same thing with the NK cells. They're being released when there's an acute stress, and they are their best killing rate when you're doing better, when you feel good.
Yeah.
Exactly like lactate.
Now, were they emotion markers with this too? We're
They have-
talking, or right? Or-
Well, it's a immune system,
Well,
so
that's what I'm
therefore
wondering, yeah,
there is
so-
an emotion marker.
yeah. So when you are initial, okay, that's really cool. Is that the thing? That's the one thing we see that transcends then from, because we don't have for sure markers of good
On
and
the
bad.
good side.
The NK cells seem to be
Right.
The
Are released-
effectiveness
yeah.
of the NK
NK cells is released.
That seems to be one indicator then of that
And it's
correlation
doing-
of positive
They
emotion.
tested to positive emotion. Yeah.
Okay. So that's at least one thing that we have. Then there might be a million others. But that's one thing that you can sit on.
We're just
it's worth
talking
looking at.
emotion, immune system.
Yeah.
Again, this is a universe in itself. So this is one link, but that doesn't. Again, we're not talking causation. They're all the same, and so they all link together.
Mm-hmm.
But at least we can use that as a show that this might be like the whole system might be far more complex and not divisible into small pieces like we want. What we want is the Lego theory, that you take small pieces, you put it together, you make a big stuff. So what I want to talk here is about the fundamental principle of the Voltron effect, and that because of that, we are learning incorrectly. So the school system is the Lego theory, which I believe life is the Voltron effect.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's all the same. It's not, again, everything is an event. Everything is a universe. Every time you have an event, you create a universe. It's not pieces.
do you think systematically, do you think there's an ability to walk back from that mindset though? Now we talk about with science and medicine right now.
Oh, yes.
Because there's so much entrenched.
When physics figured it out,
Specialization.
physics have always led science.
Yeah.
Always. So I believe you will see the Voltron effect in physics.
No.
Well, look at the amplituhedron. This is what you'll see. We'll talk about events in physics and stuff like that. The amplituhedron is already talking about the structure of the universe being geometrical.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a fundamental process that we are not. We have an entire human culture, and I'm not talking Western. I'm talking like the last
All of
10,000 years,
Yeah.
maybe more.
Yeah.
Like the stuff
It's more than that.
that you see what happened at temple in Turkey. That's to be another podcast. But anyway, so through human history, we have tried. religion was in a weird way, in a paradoxical way, the one thing that tried to explain the universe as a whole. And science started to break it down.
Yeah.
There's always been a science versus religion binary system that I think is plaguing us to this day.
Yeah.
Where science is making and it's winning against religion, and has won against religion, and it's making a hard push to stay away from religion as much as it can. And by doing that, I think it's breaking itself.
Well, I think it ends up being
It's biased.
it ends up in holes of the same magnitude as religion, just on literally the opposite side of the spectrum. Yeah. It's like you refuse so hard to adopt anything that's, or to even consider anything right now that's beyond your current understanding. Anything perceived as woo or under a layer.
How many times did you hear that to make correct decisions, you have to be cold, devoid of emotion? We see that in movies everywhere. I can show you 10...
Cold, calculated. Yeah.
I can show you 10 neuroscience paper that shows that it's not happening. They tried, and they've seen that without emotion, people make worse choices. Yeah. You have to see the papers, they'll be on the StrongFit library. Yeah. And if you were to make those decisions, you would have to negate everything you've learned from before. So that means that what they're saying is that forget what you have learned so far. Make a decision based only on the information you have. I'm like, all right, the information you have. Do you have all the information at that moment?
Yeah.
Of course you don't. So now you're susceptible to make decisions based on whatever information you get. Who controls the information that you get?
Yeah.
Because it's part of a system. Trust me, you're not getting all of it.
Well, there's a lot of,
see how stupid this is as a formulation?
In the game theory side of that too, is there's, when they map that stuff out, in the theory, it's that there is certain equations where you are like, well, now we have what we know, we have what we don't know. Are we dealing with complete information or incomplete information? Are we responding to things, or are they responding? And so it's I think any theory that has anything to stand on has to basically be built on the wholeness of the event, if anything.
It has to. So when they say be cold and calculated, what they say is remove the learning process from the decision.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, that might get you one logic-based decision then too, but I think you're going to then...
Based on what?
Well, but I think...
Based on logic, based on the information that you have. But you're assuming that your conscious brain is the one that gets all the information.
Yeah, that's true.
And that is not true. Proven by emotion, all that stuff.
That's true.
I remember...
Shutting off emotion too is another thing where you can make... Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
you have to make really bad
brains.
decisions. You're dismissing a bad
brains.
vibe. You know what I'm saying? You think that doesn't matter when you're trusting a person?
So that means you're dismissing your heart and your gut.
Yeah.
So you have a system that is based on 3 brains, and you take 2 of them out, and you're telling me that that's a better way of doing things.
Because he saw, heard, smelled, tasted, and touched things. That's it. Yeah.
Even chess player tells you they know when a move is wrong because they can feel it. Because obviously intuition is when the whole system works together. The Voltron Effect. So even the chess players use the Voltron Effect.
I'll use this explanation because it works for me. But for those of you who don't play guitar, you've played Guitar Hero, right? So if you ever played Guitar or Guitar Hero, there's things when you try to learn something, it's this slugging.
Yeah.
It's a number and a finger and a thing until you know what the song is.
It's integrated.
But until you're going this, it's 1, 3, fuck. And you're only worried about the individual. And I don't know how to always climb over that hump. So I think it's just repetition. Occasionally 3/4 of it becomes second nature. And then what happens? I'll do this sometime. Actually, I'll film this sometime because I'll grab something that I don't know how to play,
right.
And you'll see the process. It's excruciating. And 15 minutes, 20 minutes later, you will see it is an entirely different thing.
Right.
But what it makes it look like, though, is that if you look back, you're like, whatever it is you were doing in the beginning, it's
not correct.
I was not doing. It wasn't just I was getting the note. The whole approach is wrong. Somehow
so that's
about it
exactly
is,
that, right.
and that is
and when they say cold calculated, that's what they're talking.
Because most of the songs that I know how to, the things once you get beyond that point, I can play with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
There's no fucking need to see anything. I don't need to look. I don't need anything.
And once you have mastery, once you have truly the Voltron effect, you don't need the notes. You hear music and you start playing it because you can.
But it literally is a different thing. It's hard to describe, but you'll see every thing now. Then it becomes me playing it, not me. It's a totally different. It's very cool. It's I like that idea though from a macro all the way down to the micro.
Yeah.
I think if anything works at large scale, and it's universal truth, it should work at the small scale.
Exactly, and that's why I think it's a principle.
Yeah.
Like the Voltron Effect is a deep principle, and we'll see. But my guess is that's where physics is heading.
Yeah.
Like because they're trying to split, and it's not working.
Well, they've had that in a long time over the last decade. 10, 15 years in physics has been try this in. People specialize here because they want that to be the thing that's everything, and they can't do it.
Yeah.
And then they're too isolated from the rest of the space, and it
they're
crashes.
still stuck in a way, in a deterministic way. Whereas quantum mechanics is showing us that it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You have all the effects in quantum mechanics. They, for example, come on, two particles that are. How can I forget this? You know, when two particles, one spins one way, the other one spins the other way, and even if you split them at
superposition?
No. When it's going to come back. When they split
Quantum entanglement?
Yes, there we go. Good job.
Fuck yeah.
Entanglement, exactly.
That was honestly probably from like an Iron Man movie, but
doesn't matter. Yeah,
whatever.
No, that was actually the bridge, Einstein-Rosenberg.
Well, I know it's a real thing.
ER equals EPR. He actually says that, Tony Stark. I think
he did say that. Well, then maybe
ER equals EPR. How did you solve the Einstein-Rosenberg problem? That's ER equals EPR. That's a black hole.
Yeah.
Stuff. Anyway, I was the only person in the stuff that laughed because I was like, I got that. I was like, God, I'm a nerd. If you can get that joke, if you got what he said when he said that, you're a nerd.
Yeah.
If you understand the question, you're a nerd. Let's put it this way. Anyway, and so like the entanglement, it shows you like even across the universe, there's still a connection between the two. Because they're the same thing. Like
and discussing what that is a thing when we talk about science being scared of being religion, of doing religion things, is
because they don't understand. Yeah. So once they entangle, you put them entangle, then they becomes connected even on the other side of the universe. If one spins this way, the other one spins the other way. How can that be? Since the connection would be faster than light.
Yeah.
So we don't understand. So, but because they became the same thing. Mm-hmm. So the Voltron effect is a principle.
Yeah.
It's not proven yet, but emotion versus immune system, all that stuff points in the same direction.
Yeah. What do you think this goes next? What are we bringing them next week, kind of to elaborate on this?
What I would like to then, what we're going to talk about next week, and I really, really want to make that point clear for people that train, is that you need also to feel awesome when you train. Mm-hmm. Stop just punishing yourself.
And you shouldn't also come in. I see a lot of that too, though, where I see people want to come in and do the I'm gonna feel good when I train thing.
And do just that.
And and they don't even fucking do that.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Remember we talked about the warm-up?
What you really did was felt nothing.
We talked about my warm-up.
Yeah.
Right. I want that warm-up to feel awesome.
Yeah.
So while I do it, I push so hard it feels bad. But when I'm done, I get like the connection, the pump, the stuff and everything. I'm like, this feels awesome. Like, I can't wait to go warm up. Some days when I'm tired, I do and just do that because it feels great. As I do it, I really push, but the overall feeling feels great. I'm attacking the weakness. I'm feeling all the muscle connecting. That moment feels great. Mm-hmm. So, but on the question, it doesn't.
No.
This feels great. We need that. So your warm-up should be something that makes you feel great. And doing this 10 times, feel like I feel a little bit of a pump? No, feel great is an overall, not because they're going to go, well, what do you mean by feeling great? So now they want back to a single stimulus. Tell me, explain, do you feel great? Just like a little bit of a pump? I'm like, no, as an event, which means you're proud of the action. So now I can curl a 30 kilo dumbbell.
Yeah.
So I'm proud. I can curl a 30
Your
kilo dumbbell.
favorite fucking songs on. Training partners.
Exactly,
there.
I got the
It's
thing.
nice
the vibe is good,
like,
and I'm curling the 30 kilo. And but I'm like, I'm proud of the fact that I made progress. And then I go back to the 20 and I get a pump. That feels awesome. Then I get my hammies. I'm like, oh, I feel connection.
Yeah.
And so each movement, even though it hurts, at the same time I feel the connection on my hammy. I'm making progress. Mm-hmm. It feels great.
Yeah.
You need that because otherwise you're only pounding the negative side. All you're doing is destroying the system. And when we say changing how you feel, the only way you change how you feel is for the worse. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's kind of strange.
Yeah, that's a bad policy.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you look when it comes to training, changing how you feel, people only opt for feeling worse.
Yeah. Well,
or when they can't do that, center.
Yeah. Well, and what are you going to get when that's the adaptation then? It's like now that's the world you live in.
And then he shows you that
all
you cannot
all of
have
those things will shift
Then if everything is linked, everything is a Voltron effect, that means you cannot have adaptation unless you feel great, or at least not nearly as good.
Yeah.
That you have to feel great to have the adaptation.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, the whole system is down.
That's really cool.
And you can see that with the lactate.
Yeah.
Just like you can see with the NK cells.
We have a serious deficiency in StrongFit right now, and that is for chalkboards.
That is true. Like I miss my chalkboard. Like I really want to get the gym fast so we can just start painting like the whole thing with chalkboard so I can start going off again on the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was thinking this whole time. I was like, I need to see like in writing where lactate this, with this fits, with this fits. I don't know if you just layer it over and over and over, arch after arch after
arch. Because there is no arch. There is no spoon.
You're the arch, bro.
You come down to the truth is, you are the spoon. It is you that bends.
You are the spoon. Oh, shit.
It is you that bends.
So, well, is that it for today?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a lot. That's cool. I think it is good that we, I think, laid the first episode in.
Yes, that's why we did it, yeah.
Because this was what you came to me with first, and it's confusing.
It is because it's...
But actually, if you just zoom back out, like once it clicks, you understand where it fits, and I don't, you know what I mean? It seems to just...
It's one of those deeper truths where when I have them, I know it's true.
Yeah.
Like I can't explain to you why I know this is true.
Yeah.
I just know it is.
Yeah.
I know when I'm right. I always know this is right.
Yeah.
I just can't, because I know, you know how I know I'm right? Because I'm not right. It is right.
Yes. Yeah.
I always know when something is right.
And it's because you didn't invent it. That's the other thing. You're not incentivized to like...
Yeah. So it's not, this isn't me.
You're incentivized to find what's right, not to invent something
to be
that is
right.
Yeah.
So I know I'm right because I don't need to be right. It's not me. This is right.
Yeah.
And I know there is a depth in this, that it's a true principle.
Yeah. Well, speaking of true principles, you're supposed to segue into the ad reads.
Into the new StrongFit t-shirt, the Voltron Effect.
We'll wrap up today. Speaking of t-shirts and things,
Yeah.
we've got kind of a backlog now of about 5 shirts.
Yeah, Christian, the Voltron Effect.
That's a good
Come on, this one has to come up.
Yeah, for sure. So those types of things will be found at strongfitequipment.com, strongfitequipment.eu, depending on when you're seeing it.
And then I'm going to go take care of my daughter. She has to go back to the hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, Daya is taking her. No, the one thing is I can't take her because it's only one person at a time. So I guess the COVID effect was there. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was was that the taxi issue?
No, he was just an asshole.
Okay. Get your dirty ass out of my seat. Maybe he has a role.
Oh, that's a good point.
Maybe.
Oh, so maybe he wasn't an asshole.
Was there
maybe
a
it was a
divider
COVID-19.
between the front and back too?
A small one, yeah.
Maybe that's why. Yeah. Maybe that's their thing to keep the driver. Maybe that's their policy, like the grocery store people.
Yeah, but so that's why they want me sitting next to him.
Yeah, because you're gross. You don't know how to wash your hands.
Yeah.
You're a person, and you're in the
No,
world.
okay. So maybe he was less of an asshole than I thought then.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it makes me feel a bit better.
I didn't think. Well, no.
Okay.
I'll be goddamn if I'm going to send a father whose daughter's bleeding in my back fucking seat while I'm taking their money.
No, but okay. Here, the Dutch respect the rules. If that's the case, it makes me feel.
That's me. You're getting in the taxi. But if it's, you know what I mean, if I'm driving,
I don't care. Like your daughter is crying,
we'll be fine.
The cops can fuck off.
Empathy matters.
But it'd be less of an asshole than I thought, and it would make me feel better.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. You're right. That's probably why you say only 2 people.
Yeah,
that's probably why.
It's probably his thing, just like the number limited on people in stores.
But a taxi is not going to lose his license over me. Even if my daughter is crying and needs to go to the hospital, I mean, you should take the bicycle, man.
Yeah, fuck off, dude.
Well, okay, I won't risk his life, his job right now, which is livelihood, which is probably low.
Yeah.
Even if the kid is crying. So, okay, all right, so it's on me. Okay, my bad. Yeah. I thought he was an asshole.
You know how we know that's context matters.
Context matters.
We opened without context matters.
I thought he was just being an asshole because I don't like the taxi drivers here because I had bad experiences. Yeah. The Uber were nice, but not taxi drivers. So that's on me. I assumed that he was being an asshole where actually he wasn't.
Doesn't make the overall situation any less inconvenient.
No, but at least I understand it.
At least
I understand it.
At least you weren't done wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wasn't done wrong then. Yeah. No, I totally understand it. Like, again, not the way I would have acted, but I was not done wrong. Okay, that makes me feel better. Yeah, I was, sorry, dude. You were not, okay. He was not being an asshole. Okay.
What about, so I'm trying to think where else. Manta Fitness has everything there. Programs at strongfit.com. In the online classroom tab, you're going to find Julien's functional integration training template, Julien's one-on-one coaching for nutrition and or training.
Nutrition, I'm done. I'll get one more for nutrition, training and nutrition.
I'm assuming people will be continuing to watch these, so I'm going to say just click the link, and if you can still, if there's spots open, you'll know.
Otherwise there'll be a waiting list soon. Because I'll get one more, and that's one more, and then there'll be a waiting list.
And then you can go there and put your name in on the list, and once spots free up, we can send you an email. I think that's probably the best way, because I don't like doing cold announcements like, now we got 3. I'd rather just go here, and when things open, you can be there. So, but the functional integration template is up and running. Got a lot of people up and running using it. We have some people using it where we've been talking to them in the Red Pill training group as well. So it seems to be getting a lot of good feedback and all that stuff. I'm trying to involve you in it so that it's not so fun.
And I'm like,
people still keep saying like, you could just record that, and I'm like, well, first off, it's kind of getting hilarious, and second, it changes so much week to week. It's the truth.
Well, yeah, because when we do stuff, Richard, we didn't even know.
We didn't have time to because of the delay.
Because that went so fast. We'll have to do a better job on that one. Because he had 54 people on his program, which is great.
So basically, it opened up. Well, we got it set up and opened up, but with the delay with getting things to YouTube, it was basically built, opened, sold, and launched. And we did it all just kind of around here because of the time delay here we couldn't do. But that'll be a program. It's a kind of an introduction to
the anxiety
stuff, and there's some
and how to deal with it,
and how to deal with it. Kind of covers some of the basic terms.
He's doing a very good job with it.
Yeah, and
he'll do another one in 8 weeks.
So that'll be
promote it a bit more.
So that'll be there. There will be links for that in the descriptions.
We'll do a podcast on it with him. Once he's ready to open up the next one.
The first group. So
because then he can explain what he saw. Because he has people that don't even know about StrongFit.
That's good.
Yeah, so he's going to have more advanced people and less advanced people. I'll be very curious to see how 8 weeks of that is going. Because then we can further our study of anxiety, which is something that really interesting.
And it's a very basic, not basic, but it's introductory, just like you said. So you don't have to have done all the StrongFit seminars and all the stuff.
All the podcasts,
not a bunch of prerequisites. We're going to focus on just this subject here. And so that one's Richard's baby, and he's kind of running with it. It seems to be going pretty well. So people really liked it. I've been seeing all the social media stuff too, and
he likes that stuff a lot.
And people have been responding really, really, really well.
I think he's finding his own voice in this, which is good. That's what I would like to see. All the members of StrongFit, including me, is finding your own voice. You know what's been mine lately? I've taken 4 people off of pills, or I'm in the process of taking them off of pills, antidepressants, all that stuff. By the way, speaking of that, antidepressants, they take the bad, but they also take the good away.
Everything,
Right, so there's a rabbit hole for you right there. But anyway, I've been taking 4 people off the pills. That's something I feel really, really intensely good about. So, like I might open up some spots for people that want to get off the pills. That's something I'm interested in. Like if you're on antidepressants or anti-anxiety pills, talk to me. Like I'll, talk to me.
It's a long road, it's a slow road, but it's the right road, I think, in a lot of cases. And I think...
Well, not doing it is not solving anything, because people are on it for fucking 10 years straight and they still struggle with the same stuff. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. The Voltron Effect, man. Like, it's not working. So if you want to get off the pills, anxiety or depression, talk to me. Email me, Julien@strongfit.com.
And I think that's all our shit.
For now, until the next podcast.
So support the podcast. It's at podcast.strongfit.com. I should at least have a list sometime of
membership.
We've got. Oh, yeah, memberships on YouTube.
That one matters.
That one's just launched. So, let's recap this again real quick. YouTube memberships, if you don't know, we have all of Julien and Richard's old assessment library there, like multiple hours long. Like
of assessment from like 4 years ago.
And just assessments, like an individual completely run through the whole process.
So someone pays me for an assessment because they have pain somewhere. How do I do it? Just that.
And then we're also adding, Julien's got these like short clips.
It's kind of fun.
Like a single movement. He's analyzing. He goes back slow-mo.
I have some issues that are getting better, but I thought I would take people in the process, because we started training really hard. Like I started 3-4 months, and then as usual it was like metal to the pedal to the metal. So you get kinks here and there, right? And some kinks what came about that I didn't have before. I was like, that one is weird. So I had to analyze myself onto how come this is happening. And so that's the process I'm taking you to. Like I had an issue right here that is actually almost gone now, that I'm solving, but it was affecting my pull-ups as well. It started with the pull-ups, but not the rope pulls, only the pull-ups. I was like, that's kind of weird. Yeah. And so I was like, So I had to assess myself on a bunch of stuff. And then that's what those videos are about, which I'll keep on going because the way I'm training, there'll always be little shit.
That format's really cool.
Yep.
Short form, 4 or 5, 10 minutes, like Julien talking like over
minutes,
it. Yeah, it's really good information for sharpening your coach's eye.
Yeah, and I'm just going to explain to you what I see, how it feels, and what I'm going to do about it.
Yeah.
So literally, how do I look at a problem?
How you look at this, where it fits with everything else, what to do. That's
exactly. Cool. You get to see the tattoos.
Yes. Well, and with that, everything else is going to be on there. You still get early access.
I'm going to charge extra for that.
Extra for
I have pants on. Ladies, without pants, it's extra, but we can talk.
Only fans.
Only ladies. Only ladies fans. No. I'm not doing the big guy with the weirdos. I'm not doing that. Ladies, I will. Guys, no.
It's the same photo shoot.
No. I'm not doing that one. No. I have a lot of big friends, like strongmen, big dudes that make a lot of money.
Yep.
I had a friend of mine, I won't say his name, but he got paid to take a shower in front of a dude watching. Not even masturbating. The guy just wanted to see him.
Shower.
Yeah. And so he was telling me at the Olympics, for Olympic weightlifting, there's a number of guys that have made money with guys just wanting them, big dudes showering. It's so weird. It's so weird.
Email my wife for those requests. She'll filter them.
I'm not doing it. Ladies, I will. Guys, I'm not. Do you know, they were talking about that, like that Miss Olympia? Mm-hmm. Right. So there's no money in the Miss Olympia, like the big, but... Yeah. After each Olympia, she was walking around with a duffel bag. And she was asked by King Kamali, like, what's in the money? She opened, it was cash.
Just cash.
Just a duffel bag. She would do that because each competition, after, guys would ask her to either pose naked for them or dominate them or whatever they want. But she was making a fortune in cash. There is an entire thing with large muscle people. Mm-hmm. And it's always men paying for both, which I find... I don't know what is it with that fantasy, but I had a number of friends. It was just let me I want to see you shower, I want to see you pose or stuff like that. It is so interesting. Yeah. And so, like the Olympics doesn't pay, and bodybuilding doesn't always pay, but people find ways to make money.
Yep. Well, the only cool DMs I get in that regard are always from dudes. So
you know that I get a few, thanks to the podcast, I get a few from ladies now. Well, thank you, Tyler.
Well done. You're welcome.
Exactly. That's because they like my brain. That's
right. They only like me for my beard, and
they only like me for my brain. But I feel offended now. I'm like, I think I look good. I have tattoos. Look at that one. How can you not like me for my body?
By the way, is it time to get tattoos yet? Can we do that yet?
I can't. I was supposed to do one on the right side. Oh, I have such a cool tattoo on the right side of my head coming. And no, I was supposed to have it like last week.
Yeah.
And I had to go to France, which I can't. So I'm still waiting.
I've got a head and neck thing scheduled somewhere. I'm not sure the range, but want it.
I want my tattoo like that I show you that stuff looks bitching.
Yeah.
I have to wait. I'm so pissed.
Anyway, I'm just gonna get
strongmen and bitches.
I want to get like Julien's, except instead of it being cool shaped, it's just gonna be a tattoo of male pattern baldness, just so I never get away with it. I never get away from it.
It's coming. That's why I shave my head because it's
all
coming.
right. We gotta go. My battery's almost gonna die here. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Strongmen and bitches.